Happy 4th of July week from the Bits for You podcast. This is episode 25. So we have a couple of things to get through here. We have a couple of sponsors. That's right. It was bound to happen. Doing a podcast is simple and not very expensive. But as time goes on, we want to do a few things that will better the show. We want to get better equipment. We want to be able to go to events. We also want to be able to interview people face to face, and that is costly. We will probably have to fly to them and interview them. So that's where the sponsors come in. You guys know how it works. You guys have heard it before in other shows. Let's just go right to it. Today's show is brought to you by Gamefly.com. Sign up for a premium 30-day one game out trial specifically for my listeners at the following URL. www.gameflyoffer.com/bitsforyou. Gamefly has over 8,000 new releases and classics available to rent for Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS4, PS3, PS Vita, Wii U, Wii, and 3DS, as well as older systems. As a Gamefly member, you can rent as many console and handheld games as you want and get them delivered right to your mailbox for one low monthly fee. If you like a game so much that you don't want to send it back, you can keep it for a low use price. There are never any due dates or late fees. Gamefly also offers the ability to rent Blu-ray DVD movies as part of the regular service at no extra charge. To get your free trial today, go to gameflyoffer.com/bitsforyou. Again, that's gameflyoffer.com/bitsforyou for your free 30-day trial. Today's show is also brought to you by lootcrate.com. Save 10% on any new subscription at www.trylootcrate.com/bitsforyou. Enter promo code BRIDGE10 for 10% savings. You probably heard of Loot Crate before. If you haven't, I'm going to tell you what it is. Loot Crate is a monthly mystery crate that delivers the best in geek plus gaming gear, from collectibles, apparel, tech gadgets, art, and other epic gear. It's like Comic-Con in a box. Loot Crate is a monthly subscription box service for epic geek and gamer items and pop culture gear. For less than $20 a month, you get 6 to 8 items that include licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. By supporting Loot Crate, you support this podcast. To save 10% on any new subscription, go to trylootcrate.com/bitsforyou. Again, that's trylootcrate.com/bitsforyou to save 10% on any new subscription. Enter promo code BRIDGE10 for 10% savings. See, it's done. Got the sponsors out of the way. We start talking about the show. This episode, we talk about the SNES Classic. It was announced along with the games, 21 games that were announced by Nintendo. We talk about the Mario Kart 8 Bits for You tournament. Iron Maiden. Javier went to see Iron Maiden, so he's going to tell you how that was. The Han Solo movie that Disney is doing, Lucasfilm is doing with Disney. Some drama or behind the scenes drama, what happened there. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Glow. What are we playing, watching, reading? Some things we like to do naked. Yep, things we like to do naked. Enough of that. Let's start this. Here's some news about the SNES Classic. It's being released. Actually, Nintendo announced it just this Monday. You guys are listening to this on July 3rd. So this was announced on June 26th, 2 weeks after E3. I believe last year they didn't announce the NES Classic Mini on E3. They announced it like a week after or so. So it's pretty much falling around the same path as the release of or the announcement of the NES Classic from last year. And so Nintendo announced here that it's September 29th. Is that correct, Javi? I don't want to get it wrong.
I believe so. I didn't write down the date, but yeah, it's September.
It's September 29th. Yeah, I have it here. September 29th, it's going to retail for $79.99. It's going to have HDMI connection, 21 games included. I'll go down the list. It's not a lot. It's Donkey Kong Country, Earthbound, Final Fantasy 3, F-Zero, 2 Kirby games, The Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, Mega Man 10 or X, Secret of Mana, X, whatever, 10. I go with the Roman numeral.
No, it is Mega Man X.
No, fuck that. It's 10.
There is an actual Mega Man.
No, 10. I know there is, Javier. I'm just fucking around. Star Fox 2. Now that's an unreleased game. We'll go into that in a bit. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Castlevania 4, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario Kart, the original, Super Mario RPG, Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Super Punch-Out, and Yoshi's Island. So, Javi, what is the... You had some info on Star Fox 2, the previously unreleased game? Yeah.
Actually, not just Star Fox 2. This also relates to Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island.
Uh-huh.
So, there was a few games that were released in the Super Nintendo that used this technology, this chip called the Super FX chip.
Right.
Some notable games were Doom, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, Star Fox 2, Winter Goat.
Star Fox, the original, and Stunt Race FX, which I own.
Yeah, so what happened was this chip was not made by Nintendo. This is made by a studio that is no longer around. It's called, like, I can't remember.
Argonaut, I think it was. They're based on the UK.
Yes. So they're the ones who actually created this chip and, did the games for this that supported the ship.
Right.
Or helped a lot with that. Anyways, they entered liquidation in 2005, and it dissolved in 2006.
Right.
So there was a lot of legal problems over the technology and the games they released. So Nintendo could never release any kind of virtual console release
with
these games.
Okay.
Right, because just legally they couldn't.
Understood.
So now that, I guess because of this release, because Nintendo didn't say, "Oh, we got the rights," just because it's coming out for the SNES Classic. I'm assuming it is that they got the rights to it. Now, what happened to Star Fox 2 was it was towards the end of the life of SNES.
Yeah,
and it was using this Super FX chip for 3D.
Right. Going to little history, the first Star Fox was came out in 93. So they announced at a CES 1995 the sequel, Star Fox 2. So the rumor was that it was going to be released in that year.
Yeah, they already worked on it as soon as they released Star Fox.
Right.
And so they were ready for this game to come out. They had it about 95% complete.
Yeah, it was
when Nintendo finally said, "We're pulling the plug on this project." But they finished it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why they pulled the plug is because at the time, PlayStation and Sega Saturn just came out.
Right.
And they were doing 3D really well.
Yeah, the Nintendo was one of the first ones with the original Star Fox 93 to push the polygon. I think it actually still, till this day, it might have been the first polygon game on a console. I think there was polygon games on PC, but on the console, it was the first one to do it in 1993 with the original Star Fox, pushing the 3D rendered polygon. And then, as you mentioned, right around 95 and 94, the PlayStation 1 came out in Japan. It didn't come out in America until September 95. So I think that's what caused Nintendo to take a step back and focus on the Nintendo 64 was already announced in 95. I think 95 was the first E3, so they might have had a presence there with the Nintendo 64 announcement. And that kind of made Nintendo take a step back and, as you just mentioned, cancel the game and not release it at all.
It's not even a developer who worked on this said it.
There you go.
He did some interview and he was mentioning all this stuff. So they pulled Star Fox 2. They actually did finish the game,
right?
Even after they pulled it and it went to QA. I heard later on they actually finished the QA on it. So this game was basically done.
Yeah. And
It's just never released.
And just to add on to that, like remember before the internet was big in 1995, we had magazines like EGM and Nintendo Power. They had issues dedicated just to Star Fox. It was the next big thing, Star Fox 2. I mean, and they were saying, most of them said, "Oh, we got to play Star Fox 2. It plays great. They're doing this and this and this," and the game is completely canceled.
Yeah. So what happens is in the timeline here. So they pull the plug. Later on, they work on, Nintendo 64.
Right.
And they released Star Fox 64.
Yeah. In
They
1997.
did use some ideas from Star Fox 2 and finally implemented it in Star Fox 64.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm talking about is the old range mode.
Yes.
That's in Star Fox 64. That was in Star Fox 2.
Mm-hmm.
Charge shots and head-to-head duels were all in Part 2. But they later used it for,
the 64
Star Fox
version.
64. So those should be things you'd be seeing when you're playing Star Fox 2 if you get the SNES Classic. And I mentioned, Super Mario World 2 here. They have released Yoshi's Island before, but only the Game Boy Advance version. They never released the SNES version. I actually own this one, not the Game Boy one, but the Super Nintendo one, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. I have it. So it doesn't excite me because I already have it and I could play it right now if I wanted to. I have a system that plays retro games. I probably mentioned this before because I never got the NES Classic. Just for the same reason, I can play it. I don't need to buy some system to play them. It's nice that it comes with these games because like some of these are kind of expensive.
Right.
Mega Man X is something. I think that costs a bit. I think it's Mega Man X3 that costs a lot. But anyways, these are some games that cost you some money. But I would actually rather own the physical copy of these games, not just some digital game in a mini console. But people are gonna go crazy for this, and I don't think they're gonna meet the supplies again.
Hopefully they make more than 10.
Yeah, people are mentioning that they only get like 2 systems in a store or something like that for the NES Classic.
Some weird ass number. I mean, because it seems like the NES Classic they only made 10 for the entire world, even though they said they announced that they sold 2.3 million.
Yeah, it's a high demand for it, and with this one they didn't hide it. They're saying this is only being
until
produced
the end of the
this year.
Right.
Yeah.
And
next year it's gone.
They said until the end of the... Well, I read this. I read till the end of this year, and at that moment, we will decide what happens in the future. To me, that's like saying, yeah, we're not going to announce that it's gone right now. I guess they don't want that bad press that it's only to the end of the year, but it seems like it is. It's just a nice way to sugarcoat it.
When I read it, I'm pretty sure they just said they're not making any more, period.
That's not what I read. What I just said is exactly what I read. But anyways, doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong, tomato. That is the update on the SNES Classic, September 29th. There's not a lot of online retailers in America that right now you can do pre-orders. I know that in the UK you can. I mean, there's some website that the pre-orders immediately ran out this morning when I was checking online. And GameStop might make an announcement soon, or you can always check on GameStop's website if you want to pre-order it. I don't know how that works. They did have the actual consoles listed on Best Buy's website. You get notified when it's available. And also Amazon will notify you when it's available. But going back as to how it happened last year, I don't believe that Amazon notified you. Amazon only put the system on their website the date of release, which was in November 18, if that's correct. So it seems like the same pattern will happen here. I don't see that changing.
Yeah, because they're not making enough to meet the demand. So
yeah, and they won't announce it either. I mean, that's just how Nintendo is. They've always been like that. Here, this is what you're getting, and to the retailer, and that's it. That's their strategy. Always has been.
And the whole don't meet demands to create a buzz for it. That's what they also like to do.
Yeah, they've been doing that since the NES in the 80s.
It's a toy company strategy.
Yep,
and that's their origin. They were a toy company.
Yeah, they were a toy company in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Let me go into this. So I did a Twitter poll because on September, my tongue is fucked up here. On September 29th, we just mentioned the SNES Classic is coming out. Sega Genesis Classic is coming out in September. It's made by a company called At Games. Now, they have a Sega Genesis Classic console at stores right now. Toys R Us has it. Was there last month. They had it. But I don't know if it's this version, because this version they're announcing it as a brand new Sega Genesis Classic. You could actually hook up 2 original Sega Genesis controllers. You could actually put the actual Sega Genesis game, if you own it, on the top. Okay, so that's the difference. So this one you can put the actual game in the console, and the one that's currently in stores, you cannot do that. It just comes with preloaded games, and that's it. The Sega Genesis Classic, the new one that's coming out this September, they announced 80 or 85 games. It's a lot of games. Most of them are all the Sonic games, all the Mortal Kombat games. Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. Even Ultimate Mortal Kombat. So it's a ton of games. So I did a poll to see who, what people are interested more in picking up at the store. So 14% says they'll pick up Sega Genesis Classic. 57% will pick up the SNES Classic Mini. 21% said both, and 8% said I can get those games elsewhere. So there you have it. Javier, you gonna pick up the Sega Genesis Classic?
No, because I could play that too.
On the Retron 5?
Yeah. So I'm good.
And we have the Mario Kart 8 tournament going on still. I have here the access code. You can search for it by searching Bits for You podcast, or you enter this code for the tournament. It's 345310731819. We will announce on Twitter and Facebook, so follow us on Twitter and Facebook. I'll put the links in the description of this episode when we will be playing, so you guys can join us on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch. Javier.
Yeah.
You want to add anything to that?
Get your ass kicked. Let's go.
Let's go. Iron Maiden, Javi. Tell me. You went to Iron Maiden.
Yeah, they had a concert here in Dallas. I went to it. They had Ghost opening, which I never heard of them before. I didn't even look into who was even opening for them.
Right.
But I made it early because I wanted to have a good spot on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I had floor seats. Or I shouldn't say you call them seats.
Wow.
I was just standing.
You were on the floor.
Yeah. So I was so I wasn't too far away from the stage. Anyways, Ghost started playing, and I actually started liking them a lot. I never heard them before. They are I compare them to King Diamond, like a King Diamond light.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they remind me a lot of King Diamond. Like I said, a lot lighter. They don't do the screeching or whatever that King Diamond does. And it's not as heavy. It's a little bit, I guess, a genre would be considered doom metal for this.
Are they from the States or are they from the UK?
My friend guessed they were from Sweden. And I'm like, oh, that's the default answer for any metal band. And then I looked it up. They are from Sweden.
Oh.
So actually they have some interest. So they have some interesting things about them. So the lead singer was dressed like an Antichrist Pope. And everybody else in the band, like the keyboardist and the guitarist, they're all wear these robes and a demon mask, so you couldn't see who they were. Mid through the show, he changed from that Pope outfit to some other outfit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so they don't really show their faces. Their identities were secret for most of the time the band's been around. Just recently has their names been exposed because of a lawsuit. Some of the former members are suing the lead singer. Mm-hmm. So his name came out, got leaked from that. So they had a whole big gimmick, and their albums kind of have a story to them as well. So I like them a lot, and actually after the concert I started listening to them a lot more. Well, I never listened to them before, but now I'm listening to them a lot because I like it a lot. I was always a big King Diamond fan. Sadly, last concert I tried to go to with King Diamond, he was just playing the album Abigail, which is a very popular album for him. But he got sick, so I just got a refund. That's it. Never rescheduled or nothing. It was toward the end of his last tour, which is the Abigail tour, and that sucks because he's getting older. He's not getting any younger, and I haven't seen anything about him since then. So hopefully he's okay. And but either way, so Ghost was good, and I highly recommend them. And then Iron Maiden, Me and my friend both have been to Iron Maiden concert before. The one I went to previously, they were just kind of replaying. The whole theme was one of their albums of the shit. I can't remember the name. The Seventh Son, the Seventh Sign, I think.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's something like that. Seventh Son or the Seventh Seal? No.
Sign.
It's a sign.
Anyways,
yeah, it has to be sign.
Anyways, this one was about their latest album,
Book of Souls.
Souls. So half of their playlist was literally from that album. So only had.
That's a good album. I almost had the chance to see them here in South Florida, but I was out of town, so I cannot go. I've missed them twice already. There's always something, and hopefully, if they come back, I get to see them this third time.
I like that album, but half the songs were from there. I'm like, I knew they liked to do that, especially after they released this album back in the day. When I say back in the day, I'm talking about like 2000 something of Brave New World.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that everybody made a big deal. They were playing most of the songs from that album in their tour instead of just one or two. Because previous concerts I've been to, most of the time they just play one, maybe two songs from a new album.
Right.
And, they play the songs that people know them for. No, not Iron Maiden. They don't do that. I guess ever since Brave New World, they've been doing that.
Most of the set list from Book of Souls and some of their classic hits.
Yeah, so it was 12 songs. 6 were from the new album. The other 6 were classics, and then the encore were all older songs.
Okay.
And they closed it. The very last song they played was "Wasted Years."
Ah, that's a classic, sir.
It's a good song, but I was kind of surprised they closed with it. They did play like.
I fucking love that song.
Yeah, they played the Trooper and the Fear of the Dark, stuff like that. The Number of the Beast. So it was a good concert. I liked the one I went to before just because they didn't play anything new. It was all stuff from the 80s mostly. Even in this one, they only played one song actually from Brave New World, which was Blood Brothers, which is a good song.
That is a good song.
Yeah, but it was a great concert. It was a lot of fun. I was more impressed by Ghost. Iron Maiden, it's just to me, that was like the best concert I went to, the first one I went to of them. This one didn't meet that, but because I liked the new album, I just wasn't that big of a fan of it. So that's why I would not as excited about it, but it was still a lot of fun. I was pretty close to the stage. I took some pictures and then posted it on our Twitter, Bits for You podcast. So that's all I really have to say about that concert.
Badass concert.
Yep.
We're gonna go next time.
Yeah, they keep on touring.
Hopefully. I mean, they're pushing 60 if they're not 60 already.
I thought they were in their 70s.
You fucking asshole. They look like they're in their 70s.
Yeah.
I know that Bruce was out of commission for a while. He had a battle of cancer. I think it was throat cancer a few years ago.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, for some reason, and it just comes up that it was throat cancer. There was, rumors that his voice wasn't going to be the same, but you were there, so.
Well, he wasn't the same as he was in the 80s, but pretty close.
He's older, yeah.
Yeah, I just checked his age. He's 58.
Oh, shit, see? Almost 60. Not bad, sir. So I wanted to touch on, we love Star Wars. Disney started filming, and Lucasfilm, in February of this year, the Han Solo spin-off. It's a standalone film. It's a prequel of how Han Solo, we get to see how he became the Han Solo that we know from episodes 4, 5, 6, and 7. The directors attached at the time, and this is why I bring it up, were Phil Lord and Chris Miller. They wrote and directed such classic movies as Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, and the Lego Movie. I've seen all of those movies, and they're all pretty fun, good movies. You saw the Lego Movie as well, right, Javi?
Yeah, I watched it.
What'd you think of it?
It's pretty funny.
So the directors it was like last week or a couple of days ago. The rumor was on social media and news outlets that they left the movie. The word is that almost 75% of the movie was filmed. They were filming since February. They had about another month of filming, and the directors announced that it was, there's just creative differences. Everything is good. They're all in good standing with Disney, and Disney then 2 days later announced that, a day later announced that Ron Howard, director of such classics as Backdraft, Apollo 13, the Da Vinci Code movies, and the 2 sequels, and many other movies. Oh, and Willow. So Ron Howard has history with Lucasfilm because he directed Willow back when George Lucas was in charge of Lucasfilm. So he was hired as the replacement for Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Now, which brings me to this. More news is starting coming out, rumors from either cast or crew that the directors were filming the scenes as the script calls, but these directors come from a background of improv. They like to improvise, so they would let the actors, do lines or different takes that were not on the script. So Kathleen Kennedy, who's running Lucasfilm, got word of this, is the rumor, and that she sent Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote the movie, and he's also a well-known director, to go in and supervise what's going on. And once they said that he reported it back to Kathleen, she talked to the directors. The directors weren't budging, and she fired them. Now, they announced that they left because of creative differences on good terms. The crew or cast are saying that they were fired. Now, this goes to the Disney and their control. A lot of with Marvel happens too. A lot of directors that work with them in the Marvel Cinematic Universe have mentioned and come out saying that Disney wants too much control. And I see Disney's point of view as to why they want control. At the same time, that's going to cause a lot of friction with potential, with the directors they hire.
Yeah, I see this more with the more established directors. That's why I think they keep on going for newbies, because they won't bite back. Remember, Ant-Man was in development hell for a while because Edgar Wright was writing it and directing it, and it was his style of movies.
Right.
And they didn't want that. They wanted it to be just like what they do with Marvel, that formula. And they weren't doing it, so he wasn't doing it, so they kicked him out of the can too.
Exactly. And then now speaking of Edgar Wright, he has a new movie coming out this week. Well, it's coming out June 28th. Baby Driver. It's a heist movie. He said he had it in the back of his mind for like the past 20 years. So it's been getting good reviews. I'm gonna go check that out, and I'll mention in a future episode of this podcast what my thoughts are on Baby Driver, directed by Edgar Wright. But Disney. I just wanted to mention that Disney seems to be with their big franchises like Star Wars for one of them, and Marvel. They have a script, they hire a writer, and they want you to stick to that. And a lot of these established directors, whether they're established or up and coming young directors, like Phil Lord and Chris Miller, they're probably in their 30s. They weren't buying that. They have movies that have made millions of dollars. Like the Lego movie made almost $500 million worldwide. The 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street were made on low budgets. They made on a ton of money worldwide. So they have some credibility, and they just weren't gonna budge to Disney's pushing them over and telling them to stick to the script. The same thing happened with Rogue One. So Rogue One made $1 billion last year when it was released. It was a big hit. There's people that love it. There's people that don't love it. That's a different story. Similar thing happened with Rogue One. Gareth Edwards was the director on that, and the movie was finished last summer, or 5 or 6 months before the movie's release in December of last year. Disney didn't like what he directed. They told him, to go back and reshoot what was rumored to be the ending. So like 20 or 25% of the movie was reshot. They had 5 weeks of filming, and he became very vocal about it. He was kind of hush-hush about it for a while. Then he eventually became vocal about it and said, yeah, look, this is what happened. Disney wasn't happy. They hired another writer. He came in. He, reshot some scenes or with his help. And that's how we got the Rogue One that we saw. So I from what I read from him and other rumors online from the original draft, is that the movie, the way that we saw it, how it ended, spoiler alert, but even though it's been out for a while, how it ends with Darth Vader. Darth Vader wasn't in the original cut that Gareth Edwards directed. He was not in it at all. So that was part of the reshoots. They added Darth Vader in it. They added the CGI Leia at the end to connect with A New Hope. That was all added in the reshoots. It wasn't in the original cut.
Yeah, this is nothing new to me, really. Disney doing this. And not just because Disney's doing it, now other studios are trying to do it.
Yeah.
And that's why you keep on seeing these new directors being hired for this. And it's kind of a shame because you do kind of want to see what's... I understand you want to protect your IP, but I guess in certain cases I could see that being a stronger case, but sometimes it seems like too much.
Yeah, and I'll just wrap it up really quick with that segment. So the same thing happened with Marvel. Disney owns Marvel. Disney owns Lucasfilm. Joss Whedon, he directed Avengers 1. So he pretty much laid the outline for Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He directed Avengers 1 and the sequel Avengers Age of Ultron. So towards the Avengers Age of Ultron, rumor was that he was having confrontation with Disney. He had to go back and reshoot some scenes, some give and take from Disney, and he quit Marvel after that. And that, that to me was kind of damaging because he could have laid some major groundwork for Phase 3 if he didn't at that point. Not to say that Phase 3 hasn't gone well. It's gone well for the most part. Most of the movies I like, but now he left Marvel and now he's with DC working on Batgirl and he's actually doing the reshoots for Justice League Part 1, which is coming out in November. As I think we mentioned before, Zack Snyder had some issues with his family. He had to step away from editing and the reshoots. So Joss Whedon is in charge now. But moving on from this, we now go into our Glow. So Glow is on Netflix. And Javi, tell me a little bit about Glow.
Sure. So Glow is a new show on Netflix, 10 episodes. They're about
Half
20
an hour.
to 35 minutes long each episode. It's based off a TV show which is called Glow that ran for 4 seasons back in 1986. And it's based off, that show is based off these female wrestlers who had these outrageous characters.
Yeah.
So the show, the background is wrestling. You see some wrestling, but it's very little. It's mostly about the characters and their struggles, and get to see what the characters are going through and learn about them. The main character, Alison Brie. The only thing I have known her from is actually the Lego movie we talked about earlier. She was Princess Unikitty in that one.
Yes, she was in that movie. She was in a very popular TV show on NBC a few years ago called Community. They canceled it after, I think, the 3rd or 4th season, and they released the last season on Yahoo. Weird, Yahoo picked it up, even though Yahoo is pretty much bankrupt or was bankrupt at that point. I don't know what's going on with Yahoo now. But and she was in a movie with Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart called Get Hard. She played Will Ferrell's wife in that movie.
Yeah, so she's the main character here, like I mentioned, and she's this actress in the movie. I mean, in real life she's an actress, but in the movie she's this actress who's trying to land a strong female role.
Right.
And this is her chance, because the show is about female wrestlers, and there's no guys to worry about or anything like that. So that was the premise of the show, and then she finds out what wrestling is, and the show is kind of struggling because of budget reasons and the cast they got. A lot of these girls they hired for the movie. I'm talking about the actual show, not the actual behind the scenes of the show.
Right.
they're kind of like this is their first gig. They don't know how to act, or none of them knew how to wrestle. So it was a lot of problems for all these characters to overcome. And so I actually liked it a lot. I watched the whole show over the weekend.
Oh shit! You finished the whole thing?
Yeah.
I only saw the first 2 episodes.
No.
Don't spoil anything for me.
Right. I don't want to spoil much for people here. I'm not going to talk about what how it ends or anything like that, or even much about the story, except what it's about and what I liked about it. But some other things I'll mention. They actually do in terms of the wrestling, like behind the scenes kind of wrestling. Now we're talking about. They mention a few words that they use in wrestling, like heel is one word they use, which in wrestling that's a bad guy.
Yeah, they mentioned that in the first episode or second episode. One of those 2 episodes, I know because those are the only ones I saw. They mentioned heel.
I think they said kayfabe too, but don't really remember. I know there was like 2 other words I forget. They're nothing crazy. There's definitely words. If you're a wrestling fan for a while, you probably know these words. And one of the members in this, one of the actresses in this show is an actual wrestler. Her name is Awesome Kong in TNA or Impact. She was Karma in WWE, but although Karma never actually had a full match in WWE,
right?
Because she got pregnant and then left. So she's the bigger black woman in this show. Because there's 2 black women in the cast here. There's one that's skinnier. She's like an actual model and actress.
Right.
Awesome Kong is the other one that's in the show. If you watch it, her character becomes Queen Welfare.
Well, she's the bigger one. She's like almost 6 feet tall, and she's close to 300 pounds.
Yeah, and obviously it was a good cast. She acted to some degree. You can tell the other ones acted a lot more. Yeah, she was just more of a background character, but she could actually take bumps.
Yeah, I agree with you. I saw her in the first 2 episodes, and she was, she did what she was told, and overall in those first 2 episodes, everybody did a great job.
Yeah. I mean, there's just characters in there that are kind of like background characters. They don't do too much. They might focus on a little bit, but never too much. And she's one of those characters. Like the Asian girl in this show, I actually know her from Scott Pilgrim. She's Knives in that movie, the girlfriend of the main character. Scott Pilgrim.
Was I know you'll mention it, but I'm just gonna jump in. So was the guy in the first 2 episodes that was training them? He's a wrestler. Yeah,
I was gonna talk about all the wrestlers that appeared in this show. Johnny Mundo or John Morrison in WWE.
Right.
He's in the first episode only. The ones that actually appear the most in this show are Carlito. You might actually remember. I remember him from WWE.
Yeah.
He would bite the apple and spit it in your face. And the other one was Tyrus from TNA or Impact. His WWE name was I don't know why. I can't remember his name actually. The Funkasaurus or something like that. He just had a silly gimmick. Yeah. And then the other ones that appear, Alex Riley appears in one episode. Mm-hmm. That's his actual name from WWE. That's his real name, I think, too. I forget. Joey Ryan, he was there in WWE. He's an indie guy. He's also in Lucha Underground, just like Johnny Mundo or John Morrison. Brooke Hogan actually shows up here, too. And 2 other wrestlers. They're both from ROH. They both were also in TNA at one point. Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian.
Chavo doesn't show up at all, right?
No, so in the background.
When I say background, I mean
the actual show.
The trainer. He's going to be in one of the upcoming episodes in July for the WTF podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts I listen to. Mark Maron, he is he's a comedian. He runs that podcast. He's the host of that podcast, and he's actually in the show as the ringleader, manager, owner of Glow.
Okay. Yeah, and they never show him at all in the series. No one would expect that. Behind the scenes, he actually trained the girls. He was the actual trainer. So he taught all these actresses how to actually wrestle. I say behind the scenes. This is hard because this show is about a show.
Exactly.
But I'm talking about the real life
filming
case here.
Of this show.
Yeah.
Right.
The real life filming of the show. He's the trainer. The gym is actually named after him in the show. They never mentioned. I don't think you have to really catch that. It's not really a spoiler here. It's not a big deal.
Right.
I didn't know until I read that up and I watched the whole show.
Oh, okay.
So they respected wrestling in this. They did touch some subjects which I thought was interesting, like racism. In wrestling, it seems like behind the times on that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When they love to have characters that are the stereotypes. So, example, in this show, they had an Indian actress. She played a terrorist wrestling gimmick in the because she looked like she was from the Middle East because she's Indian. That kind of stuff I'm talking about. Actually, that runs parallel somewhat to WWE right now. They have a wrestler named Jinder Mahal. He is actually Canadian, but he is of Indian descent. On WWE, he plays the foreign heel, the very stereotypical foreign heel, where he's like, "Oh, you Americans," and blah blah blah. Just like in the show, they have the whole Russia versus USA thing going on. You'll see that. Not a spoiler, really, but it's kind of the same thing. It still happens in wrestling now. Like not just too long ago, you actually had that, and Rusev was Russia, and John Cena was representing USA. So I kind of found that funny, and they did poke fun of that they like to love to do the stereotypes. There's some jokes they run with it. I won't mention those jokes, but it's something really interesting in wrestling where you see the stereotypes and they're still freaking used.
Staple of wrestling.
Right. And they mention other things, which I'm hesitant to say. I don't think I will say them because it might lead to spoilers.
Don't say, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. But they do touch everything they talk about wrestling and stuff. It's not like they didn't research. Everything was very well researched. They had a bunch of very legit wrestlers appear in this show. I think they only signed up because they knew it was respecting wrestling. And they touch on subjects that are legit, like I said, the racism thing. I don't like that really. Like I said, Jinder Mahal. I don't. At first, I was kind of interested in his character and him getting the belt and all that stuff in WWE.
Right.
But it's kind of like, okay, he's a stereotypical foreign heel. Whatever. I'm so done with this. You know.
Yeah.
I love to watch Japanese wrestling. I'm not gonna boo them because they're Japanese. I'm not like, oh, those Japs. I'm not gonna do that. I don't think like that, and I don't think much.
You just think if they put on a good show and they're fucking athletic and know what the fuck they're doing, that's all that matters.
Right. So what did you think of it so far? You only saw two
pretty
episodes.
much what you said. I like the look of the show. I like just to give you guys some background. So Netflix is the one, as we mentioned, produces the show. The creators of this show are the creators of Orange is the New Black. So there's a lot of fans of Orange is the New Black. I believe they're currently in their 5th season. So it should be on Netflix as of now, or the time that you're listening to this. So they came up with the show, the idea of it. They wanted to do a show about Glow. They were a fan of it. And it's a good show. The look, as I mentioned, the look of it, the cast is great. Can't give too much away, as you mentioned, even though I've only seen the 2 episodes, not giving a lot. Mark Maron, I was happy that he was in it. I used to watch this IFC channel show, Maron, which now you can find all the seasons on Netflix. Great show. It's actually sort of his life as a comedian and podcast host and whatever. So Maron is great in it. The soundtrack is great. A lot of retro 80s music, and played throughout the episodes. So overall, as you mentioned, it's a good show. I mean, I'm looking forward to watching the other 8 episodes.
Yeah, I recommend it. If you're a wrestling fan, it respects you. It doesn't make fun of you.
Yeah, wrestling fans will enjoy it, as you are. You enjoyed it. Non-wrestling fans will enjoy it as well. It's funny. It has some drama. But I think it's I mean, only in the first 2 episodes, it's a nice balance of both.
I'll even compare it to Walking Dead in the sense the zombies have just become the background. They're there and they're kind of important, but they're not the focus of the show. The same thing comes to Glow and wrestling. It's there. You can't deny it.
Yeah, wrestling is in it.
All about
it's there, but it's not the main focus.
Right. They're not talking about let's have this match. They're not. I mean, they might talk about a match, but they're not like that's not the focus of the show here. It's about the characters and what they go through.
So overall, good show. We recommend it. Javi, what are you playing, watching, or reading currently?
So I'm currently playing ARMS, which I got it delivered while I was in E3. Played it when it came back. I did play the Test Punch a few times.
Mm-hmm.
It's an awesome
As
game.
did I.
We talked about it with BWA Switch.
Yes.
At that point, I didn't actually play my copy yet because I just came back from the airport.
So
and
how
stuff,
is it
but
after you played it a bit?
I enjoyed it a lot. Things that are kind of interesting is you have to play the story and beat it at a certain difficulty, which is like rank 4, to actually unlock to play people online for ranked games.
Oh, really?
You can play against people unranked, but if you want to play ranked games, you gotta beat the story at a certain difficulty. So I thought that was interesting.
Are you currently playing? Do you find yourself playing it mostly with motion controls or the Joy-Con Pro Controller?
Based on BWA Switch's recommendation, I did try the motion, but in the end, I went back to Pro. It's just you're still limited by the fact that you have to actually swing your arms to punch, versus I just have to press a button and I punch immediately. It's less. It wears on you a lot less. It is very responsive though. I will say that it's good.
So it's good. There's no lag. So the only thing that's holding you back is that you get tired quickly.
Yeah, you have to keep on punching over and over.
That's a good workout. So there you go. You're selling it as a workout game. So for those of you that want to work out, buy this game. You'll sweat while playing a fun game.
Yeah. So I've been playing that, and you can add me on. I think I have added my.
You'll tweet
advertise.
It again.
I'll tweet my my friend code at bits number 4 for bits for you podcast.
It's gonna be in the description of the episode. You don't have to say the handle anymore, Javi.
Bits for you podcast.
Son of a gun.
Yeah. So besides that, I was playing. I'll finish off. I actually did play it yesterday again. Shantae, the half genie hero.
Right.
I was playing that a lot at E3 and on the plane to LA and back home. Mm-hmm. And it's a really good game. It kind of reminds me a tiny bit of Metroid, the way the game plays out.
Have you finished it?
I'm like at the very end. I'm just doing extra stuff right now. Mm. So I actually heavily recommend that game. It's only like $20 on the
the eShop.
eShop, yeah. There's no physical copy for the game right now. Rumor is, I think I should know. I think the company actually said it will be eventually. But I wouldn't hold my breath for that. I would just buy it off the eShop.
Yeah.
And then another game I'm playing. I only played it an hour so far. It's an indie game called Camp Sunshine. This game, I got it off of Steam. Right now, the Steam sale is going on. I got it for like $1.70. The game is like an 8-bit game.
All right.
You play a character who's in this camp, and what happens is people are getting murdered. And so there's a serial killer in a bear costume going around killing people. And you have to run away from him, and you're trying to figure out what's happening, really. So there's little mini quests there throughout the map. And you keep on running away from this killer. It basically reminds me a lot of the old slasher flicks in the 80s. I think it's actually really well done. I only played it for like an hour, but I was having a lot of fun with it. I'll keep on playing it. Something I recommend, especially for the price, $1.70.
You know, that's a trend now. It seems like a trend now that you mentioned it. Friday the 13th came out a month ago on the PlayStation 4 and PC. I think it's only available digitally for like $40. And then there's another game like it's Death by I forgot the fucking name already. But it's similar. They're in a camp. Both of those games that I'm talking about. And now this third game that you mentioned, Camp Sunshine. So it's like a trend that these slasher games are all of a sudden showing up.
Yeah, I think it all started possibly from Dead by Daylight. That I've played quite a bit.
That's probably the one that I was referring to.
Yeah, because the Friday the 13th is basically a ripoff of that.
Right.
Day of the Dead is you're either the serial killer or you're the survivors, and you're trying to get out of this camp area. It's not a camp; it's just an area. You're trying to get out of it. It's in the outdoors.
Right.
You have to turn on all these generators to get the gates to open, and then the generators open this gate, and you leave, and you win if you're a survivor. The serial killer obviously has to kill everybody. Yeah. It was very popular. I remember I bought it because on Twitch it was like one of the most watched things, and it's like this is a small company that made it.
Yes.
So it was an indie game that caught on, and obviously others like
it's also available on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it came out first on just PC.
Yes, it was a PC or Steam game first, and now it's on the consoles.
Plus, you can play it for free online on PC. There's no reason to play on the consoles. You have to actually pay to play it online.
You have to pay to play on the Switch next year, sir.
Yeah, $20 a year.
It doesn't matter. Your whole argument in the past was you don't want to pay, and now because Nintendo is saying you have to pay, you're okay with that.
To some degree,
you're so biased.
I'm still kind of pissed off about it. But it's $20 a year, and you get to play other. They give you some games for free to play.
Sony gives you free games as well when you pay for their membership.
Yeah, it changes every month. This is like a constant thing with Nintendo, and I don't want to pay.
I wouldn't be surprised that Nintendo does it as well, the same way, monthly, a free game monthly.
They have not said that. They say these games are in the free category. They even have online play with them.
I'm sure they will.
And, I mean, they have not. They have said it's just in the category, and there's these categories of games you can play.
I know, but there's time for them to make an announcement.
Nah, I think they had so much backlash. I think that's why they added.
You gotta get off Nintendo's tit.
No, you just classifying it wrong. They never said it's just a month.
Oh, I know that, but I'm sure that they're gonna follow suit with the other two manufacturers, Sony and Xbox, and very likely do the same.
If they did, they would have charged $80-$90, whatever it is.
I'm sure they're releasing some shitty 8-bit game.
And to be honest, I'm not gonna do it with Nintendo unless there's some game to play online. I mean, Splatoon 2 comes out in July, but this thing's not coming in until September, October, I believe. So am I still gonna be playing Splatoon 2 online? And do I want to pay the $20 at that point?
Maybe you will.
Yeah. Besides that, I plan to buy this game called One Shot. I haven't bought it yet. I'm going to basically buy it pretty soon. And then after that, I'm just gonna say I've been watching One Punch Man on Netflix. It's an anime. I just watch it sub.
How are you liking it?
It's really good. It's pretty funny. It makes fun of anime basically. Like stereotypical animes, because the whole premise of the show is that the hero, he kills anybody with one punch. So when there's a villain, it's funny because he's like, oh, I'm so strong, blah blah blah, and he causes a lot of damage. I'm like, oh, he's badass, but then he just kills him with one punch. And the hero is very on board and makes fun of stuff. Basically, he's just like, yeah, this is whatever. But at some point in the show, he wants to get some recognition for his work. And,
for punching people and killing them?
Huh?
For just punching them and defeating them?
Yeah, because there's in this anime, there's an organization of heroes. They rank these heroes and everything. So he actually wants to join us later on because he wants credit.
Okay.
It's a really good anime. I'm almost done with it. I would highly recommend it. It's really popular anyways. I'm sure people have watched it. I'm just kind of behind on anime. I've been trying to watch more anime now. I'll be watching Cowboy Bebop again because of something we'll mention later on. We're going to do some kind of announcement with that.
Why don't we just do it now? I mean, we don't have to give the full details. We're going to be watching Cowboy Bebop. We're going to in the month of July, we're going to review it. And there will be a giveaway contest with Cowboy Bebop, the series and the movie, DVD only. I posted it on Twitter, so you guys can see that the DVD series and the movie does exist. We have it. We're going to be giving it away. How you guys will be able to participate in this contest, those details will be announced in the next episode, and more information on our Twitter and Facebook. So follow us there, and you'll be updated as soon as they become available.
And speaking of promoting things, I'll just mention, because I'll be at the WWE pay-per-view, The Great Balls of Fire. It's in Dallas, and I'm going to be at it.
When is that?
July 7, I think. Let me see.
July. Wait a second. It can't be the 7th.
No, 9. July 9.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So I'll be there live tweeting about it because I'll be there. I've been kind of not live tweeting too much with WWE because I rarely now see it live.
Right.
Actually, the last pay-per-view, Money in the Bank, I saw the first 2 matches. Both me and my buddy were like, this pay-per-view sucks. And we started watching New Japan. And we went back, fast-forwarded through stuff, watched what we wanted to watch, and then the main event, we watched it. But I've been kind of down on WWE lately. But, I mean, I still watch it. I've learned, look, just like Raw and SmackDown, more Raw than SmackDown. It's DVR'd.
It has its ups and downs?
It's in its downs right now, for sure.
Right now. Okay, so it has a downtrend.
But it's, yeah, because they're just...
Doesn't that typically happen, not immediately after WrestleMania, but shortly after WrestleMania, like in the summer, like this time of the year? Doesn't it always go in a downtrend until the fall, the new season starts in the fall?
There's no seasons.
Well,
in the fall, no, they shouldn't even do that. That's not the way you would think, because the fall is when
But that's the thing. What I'm trying to point is that even when I used to watch it, there was a trend that in the summer a lot of people are on vacation, out of school. You know, they're on their summer vacation, so they don't.
I'll say this is true.
There's a downtrend usually from what I've noticed in the summer.
But yeah, the problem with the fall is NFL, and then you have the Monday Night Football. So that.
Yeah, but that's when it picks up as well. I remember, and I noticed that in the fall, the things pick up. Lately,
they really succumbed to NFL. They're like, oh, it's football, so we're not gonna care for it. They'll push and hold things for a long time because they know not as many people are watching it, so they're not. So the fall feels also laggy.
Oh, okay.
I don't think the summer is like that bad, really. So what's happening is, I just feel like they're holding off till SummerSlam for everything. Well, most of things. So I'm kind of like, okay. I know right now they're just on a downslope. This whole thing with Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar at the pay-per-view, I feel like it's just a whole, placeholder till Roman Reigns faces Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And they already give that away by saying Roman Reigns is going to face the champion at SummerSlam. So it's like, well, great, thank you for saying that, which I knew was going to happen anyway, the way he was being built. Or pushed at the moment. But actually, I'm going to give it a bold prediction because I hope they do this. So for the pay-per-view on July 9, Great Balls of Fire, Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe, I'm going to predict what everybody is not expecting. I'm predicting that Samoa Joe will win the match.
Holy shit. No way.
Which sounds yeah, it sounds crazy because everybody just expects Brock Lesnar to win and then face Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. That's what you would do. The reason I'm going against this is because one big reason, but I kind of want to back out of my reason now after watching Raw last night. But I'll say this, and I think it still holds true. Samoa Joe has held 2 victories over Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has still not beaten Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, technically, I guess, beat him also in the Extreme Rules 5-way match.
All right.
So Samoa Joe continuously gets the win over Roman Reigns. To me, this is classic, character building where, okay, the good guy, is down on his luck, keeps on losing to the bad guy, and then finally he will get his big win, which I think would be at SummerSlam. So I'm going to throw this bold prediction. Samoa Joe's character, to me, if he beat Brock Lesnar, that would boost him up so greatly, and now people are really going to recognize who the hell this guy is. If he loses to Brock Lesnar, okay, great, he did give him a fight, but still not going to help him as much as winning. Winning would help him so much. And then you have this monster build-up already for Reigns and Joe. The only problem, the other problem I have with this is because Joe and Reigns already had 2 single matches on Raw. So it doesn't make SummerSlam as special.
Right.
But I think maybe you could even throw Brock Lesnar to make it a 3-way, which I hate that anyway as well. I'm getting tired of the multi-matches here. But because they kind of don't feel as real because it's very obvious when one of them just goes outside the ring and just hangs out there for a while the other 2 have a fight in the ring. But anyways, I'll go ahead and just still pick Samoa Joe. I kind of want to go against it, but just the fact that he's been Roman Reigns a few times now, and Reigns still hasn't gotten his receipt on that, I'm going to go with Joe. And I really hope Joe does win.
Do people still hate that guy?
Oh, yeah. Roman Reigns, yeah.
How fun.
I like him. It's just the way he's been booked made people hate him. Because the booking is basically, we're going to shove this guy down your throat, and you're going to like him.
The way they're pushing him is what people are not following.
Same thing happened to John Cena. he was shoved down our throats, and it still is when he comes back. Not to the same degree as he used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And John Cena got that same effect, but this time people are even more smarter to the business than they were before. So I think it's really like, okay, we know you're shoving him down our throats, and we don't like it. We're gonna rebel. I don't think there's a real reason to hate him besides that. I think he's okay. He's good at what he does. He's no like Kenny Omega or Okada or some of these other very well established ring competitors. When I say established, I mean like having great in-ring skills. I'm not putting down Roman Reigns though. He is really good. Just compared to some of these other people, not as much. But that's not just his fault. It's just the WWE style. Anyways, I think I rambled on about wrestling too much. How about you?
That's all you had that you want to mention about what you're watching, playing, or reading?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. When it comes to me, just Mario Kart 8. Haven't really been playing Breath of the Wild almost at all this past month. Mario Kart 8, to me, is just quick. Jump in, play for 10, 15 minutes. I'm out. I've been playing that even on the Bits for You podcast tournament, as we mentioned earlier. I bought on the Nintendo eShop for the Nintendo Switch Metal Slug 3. A lot of the Neo Geo classics or SNK classics are available there for $8. They just released Fatal Fury 2 last week. Also $8. So if you guys are into those classic 16-bit games from that era, there's a lot of them for $8. Very, very good games. And I purchased yesterday Oceanhorn. That's a Zelda-like game. It reminds me a lot of Wind Waker. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker that was released on the GameCube, and the HD remaster was the Wii U, right?
Yeah.
So I've been playing. I haven't even played it. I just bought it. I saw the trailer. It was announced on Nintendo's eShop new games. It's $15. It was an iOS game that came out, I think, a year or two ago. Did very well. Another thing that might please RPG fans or attract them is a famous composer from the Final Fantasy games, the classic Final Fantasy games, Nobuo Uematsu, did the music for Oceanhorn. The game they say it's about 10 to 12 hours long, so it's not a long RPG, but it is a Zelda-like or Wind Waker-like game. You also use a ship like Wind Waker, and you travel around the oceans and the lands and islands. And I haven't played it yet, so when I do play it, I'll come back and in the future and give you guys my thoughts on that. That's all it is for me for playing. Movies I've watched. I just
gotta mention real quick.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned Legend of Zelda, the first part of the DLC is coming out June 30th, which is by the time of release of this podcast, it'll be out.
Right.
So actually, I'm gonna go back to Zelda when that comes out.
Interesting. Yeah, and you're gonna come back and tell us how that DLC is.
I mean, I don't think that's gonna be that too much to say. It's just there's a master mode, which is exactly what I'm gonna do, and then they added a quest for the Master Sword, like an additional quest for it. So it might be a while. I guess I'll try to go for the Master Sword pretty quickly, but and try that quest.
Good.
But the Master thing just makes the whole thing more difficult, which is what I've been wanting to do because it's too easy for me right now. Because I just have a bunch of great gear.
Because you're a badass.
Yeah, that too.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So, movies that I've seen lately, I mentioned it on Twitter and I think Facebook, was Lion. It stars Dev Patel. He's the guy from Slumdog Millionaire. He was in also that terrible The Last Airbender movie. It's based on a true story. A 5-year-old Indian boy gets lost in the streets of Calcutta, India, thousands of miles away from home. That's all I'm going to say. He gets adopted by an Australian family, and 25 years later, he wants to find his family again, his mom and his siblings. So it's a very good movie, very powerful, very well acted. I highly recommend it. It's called Lion. Then I saw a movie that Javier mentioned previously, Assassin's Creed. Javier, you were right. I saw 20 minutes of this shit, and I was like, what the fuck is this? It was so. It was. Never have I stopped a movie so quickly. I mean, I've seen bad movies, but after 20 minutes, I was like, okay. I stopped it right in the part where Michael Fassbender plays the assassin. He's taken into the facility, and he's drugged. Then he wakes up, hooked up to that machine that's gonna take him to the Animus. I just turned it off there. I was watching it with my fiance, and I was like, I looked at her, and we looked at each other. I'm like, can I turn this off? And she's like, please do. She was thrilled for me to turn that shit off. That was Michael Fassbender is one of my favorite actors currently, but I don't know why the fuck he decided to make this movie. Obviously the money, but man, was it bad.
I'll take millions of dollars and do shit movies.
Fuck, dude. I think I stopped around. You told me you saw like 15, 20 minutes, or was I right?
No, I saw like half of the movie, so I saw like 45.
Oh, you saw more of it. Oh, my bad. So you does it get better after the moment that I turned it off?
No, it gets worse.
I'm glad I stopped.
The biggest problem with that movie is that it's you have no reason to care, and you don't even know what's happening.
Look, I'm gonna give you just from the 20 minutes, and maybe you could add to it, Javi. So, it's a simple story. It was based on a video game. Okay, not all video games are transition well into movies. We all know that, but there wasn't this very simple story that could have been a very good action-packed movie. But the thing is that you don't care for anything. They shove these characters in your face. It's to me, it was just not that it was badly acted. It was just badly shot. It was badly executed. It didn't like you mentioned, Javi. It didn't give you a reason to continue watching. And after 20 minutes, I said, "Fuck it, I'm done."
Yeah, they don't really explain very well what's happening. You don't care for the characters, which is a big problem with the movie.
You don't give a shit about anything in that movie. How could anybody watch a movie? You don't even care. Like, I just wanted the movie to end already. I was like, what the fuck?
When me and my fiance both got on our phones, I'm like, yeah, we're done with this.
Exactly. That's exactly what we were doing. We were like, I looked at my phone, and she was on her phone. She was already on her phone before me. I looked at my phone to look at the time. I'm like, fuck it, 20 minutes. Can I turn it off? And she was like, please do. Oh shit. So those are two things I've watched. Assassin's Creed, no bueno. Lion, good, recommend it. I'm trying to remember. I think I saw something recently. I can't remember now. Still haven't finished the book Console Wars. I have to get back to it. I have a reminder on my phone to read it. I start vacation in 3 days. So I will read that and hopefully finish it during my vacation. And that is all that I have for what I'm currently playing, watching, or reading. There is one segment that I want to get into. It's called Things to Do Naked. Javier, I want to start off with you. What do you like to do naked?
Take a shower.
That's it?
That and fart.
You fart naked?
Well, I'll fart anytime. I don't know what to tell you.
I just wanted to make you guys laugh. If you guys want me to want to know what I do naked, each week I'll say one thing that I do naked. So today I'm just gonna say that I like to make my coffee naked. Nothing like a nice cup of naked coffee.
Yeah, when you're done with the coffee, stick your penis in it for me, please.
I'll do that and take a picture and send it to you.
No thanks. Just no, thanks.
All right, that pretty much wrapped this up. Javier is actually, here's some exciting news. So we've been doing 24, 25 episodes of this podcast so far. Not all of them Javier's been in it, but all of them Javier has been Skyping, and we record it. He's in Texas, I'm in Florida. Next week, Javier will be in Florida, and the next episode, we're going to do a live face-to-face podcast. So that's something to look forward to. Any last words?
Yeah, I'll punch you when I get there.
Okay, so we'll take pictures of him attempting to punch me, and I'll do a rear naked choke. No pun intended. That's the actual move. MMA
You better not
people
do that
will know
naked.
you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna do that naked, and I'm gonna post it on social media. I'm gonna blur out obviously the good parts because I don't want to get
You mean the
the
bad
picture
parts.
deleted. Huh?
The bad parts.
No, the good parts, and I will post it on social media. Naked, a naked rear naked choke. All right then.
Yeah, you do that.
All right, guys. We'll be back next time.
Laters.
All right, that was it. I hope you enjoyed that episode here. And I wanted to thank our sponsors again, Gamefly.com. Gamefly.com has over 8,000 new releases and classics available to rent for all your current and classic gen consoles. As remember, you get them delivered right to your mailbox, one low monthly fee. If you like the game, you get to keep it. They send you the manual and original case for the game. There's no due dates or late fees. You can even rent Blu-ray movies as part of their regular service at no extra charge. To get your free trial, go to gameflyoffer.com/bitsforyou. Again, that's gameflyoffer.com/bitsforyou for your free 30-day trial. I wanted to also thank Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a monthly mystery crate that delivers the best in gaming gear, from collectibles, apparel, tech gadgets, art, and other epic gear. It's like Comic-Con in a box. So for $20 a month, you get 6 to 8 items that include all those things I just mentioned. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive this month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. By supporting Loot Crate, you support this podcast. You get to save 10% on any new subscription. Go to trylootcrate.com/bitsforyou. Try lootcrate.com/bitsforyou to save 10% on any new subscription. Enter the promo code BRIDGE10. That's the number 10. So BRIDGE10 for 10% savings. So the next episode, Javier is going to be here face to face. As you guys know, he lives in Texas. I'm in Florida. We're going to have fun. Keep it. It's going to be a surprise. We're also going to mention our contest giveaway. It's going to be in regards to Cowboy Bebop, the series. We're going to review it, the contest and giveaway. You will be receiving that as part of whoever, if you're the winner. If you win, you get the Cowboy Bebop series, all 26 episodes on DVD. You get the Cowboy Bebop movie on DVD. So you're going to have to listen to this show in the future to find out more details. Until then.